The world today is being ruled by dead people. It's not always about prayer, especially if you're a religious person. It's not always about shouting and screaming. It's about what exactly is my gift that you have given to me, O Lord. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam Ore. I am so excited and I'm fired up today to discuss with us the differences or the dichotomy between purpose, gifts, and talents. In the previous videos, we just travel around the introduction of purpose. Now, if you have watched that, you now know that there's a difference, so to speak, in a way, between purpose and gift. But we want to dip down today and be more specific and get you the clearest definition possible on the difference or the differences between purpose, gifts, and talents. As I mentioned earlier in one of the episodes, the expressions of gifts, talents, and abilities have been misconstrued by many to be their life's purpose. And that is not entirely true. Several people in today's world have made lots of money with their developed gifts. In other words, they have identified their gifts, which is, discovering their gifts, and they have developed the gifts, and some of them are deploying the gifts right now. So they're making a lot of money because of that. There are two major classifications of gifts. The first one is the pre-ascension gifts or pre-existence gifts. Let's stick with pre-ascension gifts, for example, or pre-existence gifts. These are the gifts that were given by God Almighty in His generosity to every member of the human race. In other words, just show up here on earth as a human being and you have one or two gifts or multiple gifts. These gifts are just generously given to us by God. That was even before anybody knew anything about sin. In other words, these are gifts or abilities that were packaged in you before you physically existed. So everybody has this, regardless of the fall of man. All humans, including non-believers, or it doesn't matter your religion, whether you're a Muslim or you're Hindu or Hinduist or Buddhist or a Christian or an atheist, whatever you are, whatever you believe, you have some gifts from God, because there is nothing that exists that is outside of God. You have the innate capability to exhibit this gift for the profit of all. Now, these pre-existent gifts, I call them pre-existent gifts because they actually were packaged in you by the Creator even before you existed, before you knew anything about gifts. These gifts were given to you before you were conceived in your mother's womb. For example, the charisma, the ability to speak or to be able to influence people, just to be, the act of public speaking, for example, that we're going to get into all of these different ones later, has to be operating in the lives of people whom God intended to be in politics or other public, related enterprises. Like maybe you're going to be an attorney or a journalist or a broadcaster or a preacher and all of those things. So the gift of public speaking, ability to use words intelligently in such a way that you can convey what you are trying to say or have effective communication, must be in you even before you existed. There are so many people today who don't even know their left from their right when it comes to religion or when it comes to life after death. But they are so gifted and they are using their gifts to change people, to change the world, either for bad or for good. So that's why we're saying that your gifts may not necessarily be the same thing as your purpose. And also your talents also may not be exactly the same thing as your purpose or your gift. All right? So it's very, very important to understand that. Now, so let's face it. Do you know of people who are without Christ or who are not Christians, who are in authorities, in this world today? They're in government, they're in media, they're in all of those spaces. In fact, some of them are authorities in their areas of expertise. In fact, the world today is being ruled by dead people. I mean, philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, Pythagoras, and some of those, big, Greek philosophers who kind of, coined certain words that are still being used today. For example, the word democracy that describes that the government of the people by the people that most people in the world today are trying to copy or trying to use. It was originally the word demokratia in the Greek, and that word was coined by Plato and Aristotle and the rest of them. And it simply means that let people choose who they want to govern them. And that's, America popularized it today, and the rest of the world, is trying to, embrace the same concept of democracy. Now, Plato and these other guys have long gone. They are now in their graves. It's amazing that these fellows are still kind of influencing the world even when they are gone. So, again, these people probably were not even Christian. I don't know, or they were not serving any particular. They were not in any particular religion. But the gifts of God I'm talking about here is for all of us, for every member of the human race. So, very, very important for us to understand that. So this implies that these talented people are actually still leading or influencing the people that are alive in their own graves. There are people who are making more money with their gifts. For example, someone like Michael Jackson, or other singers and entertainers and authors, and many people who have used various gifts and talents to shaping the culture of the world, and they're still making money today in their graves. So now there is what is known as ascension gifts. Now, if you're a Christian, this will make more sense to you. Ascension gift are the categories of gifts that were released or activated when Christ died and was raised from the dead. So those ones will be gifts like apostle, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers. And some other gifts, that have to do with preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. Those are also gifts. Now, if you are a Christian, you probably have other, maybe you're probably calling to one of those gifts I just mentioned. And plus your pre-existent gifts or pre-ascension gifts, then there's no reason for you to fail in life because you have a double advantage. So this is where the problem comes for a lot of people, because people tend to focus on one of these gifts at the expense of the other ones. Some don't even know the difference. They don't know the dichotomy. That is why we're doing this podcast. I believe that there are so many pastors and men and women of God today who also are gifted in other areas apart from ministry gifts. But because they have been told all their lives that anything that has to do with gift must be spiritual, must have connotation of spirituality, then they ignore these other gifts that are given to them by God in His generosity. It took me a long time for me to understand this myself. I need to admit that. And that is why I'm just starting the podcast now. So what I'm basically doing here is to educate people and to let them see that even if you are not a Christian, even if you don't know who you are gifted, and your relevance, your profit, your value in life, your money, everything is actually engrafted in your gifts, which we are going to be looking into details later. So basically, let me wrap up this episode by saying that you have pre-ascension gifts. I believe every member of the human race has that. And if you're a Christian, you have one of the ascension gifts. So when you combine both together, the combo is deadly to the kingdom of darkness. And so in the subsequent episodes, we're going to be drilling down to let you see specifically how you can identify your gifts, how you can develop those gifts, and how you can deploy those gifts. So 3D model, how to discover your gifts, develop your gifts, and deploy your gifts. There are so many people today who don't have any business, who don't have anything, they don't even understand anything about religion. Oh yeah, but because they are fortunate enough to know that they are gifted and they have developed those gifts and they are deploying those gifts and they are changing people's lives all over the world today and they're getting paid in the process. So it's not always about prayer, especially if you're a religious person. It's not always about shouting and screaming. It's about what exactly is my gift that you have given to me, O Lord. What can I say is my talent or my ability? What can I say is what I love to do? Those are the things we're going to be unpacking in the next podcast by God's grace. And I'm telling you, it's not too late. You may say, well, I'm 70-year-old, I'm 80-year-old. It doesn't matter. We are going to tell you how God can help you to actually shorten the time and accelerate your success rate as we get to prepare for the end of the year as we move into next year. All right? Stay tuned again. And if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button right now. And, like and share. And we want to hear your comments also. We are together. I'm connected with you. It's a family. Okay? See you next time. My name again is Sam Ore, and I love you.